And yet again, we didn't decide who kicks us off. Who begins?
Isn't it your turn?
Is it my turn? It's my turn.
I think it's your turn.
Okay. Well, since we're still waiting for folks to join in, I don't feel too bad that we make these decisions on the fly. We've promised nothing other than transparency at the very least. I mean, we can do better than the White House. So we're here. We are here for you to do transparency. I see folks are starting to join. The live notifications are going out. So let's kick us off. Welcome again. My name is Ryan Haidt. This is my colleague, Jordan Henry. We are two of the supposed directors of different things here at the Phyllis Schlafly Eagles. But today, what we get to be is your conversation partner. We get to talk with each other about some of the things that are going on, bring you into this unauthorized caucus, which, as we explained before, is a little bit of a paying homage to our late boss, Phyllis Schlafly, who enjoyed greatly, I'm sure, though she ribbed us a little bit, of the gathering in the hallways and discussing of things rather than being at our desks working sometimes. So thank you for joining us. Please like, share, and subscribe if you're not already. If you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button and that little notification bell. If you're on Twitter, hit the retweet button. On Facebook, hit the share. Let a friend know. This is about the lunch hour. So tell someone that you're watching and that they should too. We're going to keep it to a few minutes today, but we've got a lot of topics to cover. So I'll let Jordan dive in and hit those. But do one special favor for me. Besides the normals, please go to our website, go to phyllisschlafly.com. And then at the very top, you'll see a little banner pop down. It talks about getting the daily wink and being on our email list. Go and sign up for that, please. Because as we march along through all of these different hurdles here, as big tech and censorship continue to be a part of our lives as conservatives online, please go and sign up for our email address. That is one way that we can make sure we'll always be able to get a hold of you and you can get a hold of us, no matter what happens to any platform online if censorship kicks into high gear. So go and do that for us, and then like, share, subscribe, and let's kick off into today. Jordan, what do we have to talk about with the lovely folks today?
Okay, well, usually we just stick to one topic, and that's just all we cover for an entire video. But today we wanted to try something a little bit different. There's a lot of headlines going around today that some of them are pretty funny, and we want to poke a little bit of fun today at some of these things. So we're going to do unauthorized caucus rapid fire. We're just going to go through a bunch of different issues, offer very brief commentary. So try to keep up. Maybe at the end we can circle back around for any comments that we get on any of the stories that we talk about. So leave a comment as we go through this on whatever article we're talking about, and leave us your thoughts. But the very first article we want to talk about actually relates to social media, and a recent report from the Washington Examiner shows that Biden's social media staff cost taxpayers about $6.7 million each year. So this was based on a story that was actually from CNN about Biden's struggle to, kind of gain cultural relevance, essentially. And in that story with CNN, it was revealed that about 70 people in the Biden White House work on social media and getting the president's message out there on those online platforms. And yet still, they are struggling to give any kind of relevance to President Biden. And I just read this and I could not help but smile. I mean, I don't necessarily have a problem with President Biden hiring people to do his social media, right? I mean, that is the way of the future. And that's what the CNN article is talking about, basically, is that as culture shifts to these online platforms, the Biden administration is struggling to get on these online platforms. So that's not really the issue, but $6.7 million, and they can't even have these 70 people with $6.7 million doing as much as President Trump was able to do in his free time.
That's true. It's true.
This is I don't get it.
And, that was even as an aside to Donald Trump's lovely position as the assignment editor for the mainstream media, as Ed, our boss, always says. It's true. I mean, he got up and started tweeting, and then the day's news took off. But it really is incredible. I mean, you could dive in, and I saw a lot of the articles diving into exactly how many employees this White House has versus the Trump and the national, or the average of salaries, et cetera, and so on. But truthfully, there are 70 people that work there. And yet like historical dates get missed when, what did it took them till 8:45 p.m. to remember that June 6th was D-Day.
Wow.
Like, these are just obligatory things that would come out. But if 70 people are working there, can you imagine what we could get done with 70 people?
And that's just the people working on social media.
Truly, though, I think that the social media crew, we're giving them a bad rap, really trying to interpret for the shorthand social media world what in the world it is our president just said in front of the camera. It is a very taxing job. It's kind of hard. So I'll give him a little bit of slack there.
But to your point, President Trump was assigning what the media would talk about every single day by what he would tweet about. I cannot, off the top of my head, think of one notable social media post from President Biden. Like, it's not talked about in the news at all. At all. The social media is not relevant whatsoever.
I have one word. If we want to wrap this up and move on to our next one word, covfefe.
Exactly.
Legendary social media status from Donald Trump in his typos.
He could tweet nonsense, and it's still covered in the news more than what 70 staffers with President Biden.
By the way, this is our silent shout out as we're, well, not so silent, as we're here doing the social media thing. If our boss is listening, the White House has a $6.7 million budget. I mean, maybe we could get a little bit of a raise here. There's only two of us, and we're managing what they are almost. So if anyone's listening.
All right. So next article that we want to touch on relates to some Brave players in Major League Baseball.
Not the Braves, though.
Not the Braves.
Not
That's
the Braves.
True. That's true. That would be insensitive. We won't talk about them.
No, of course not.
But no, these Brave players that chose that they would not wear a Pride Month patch on their uniforms as they were playing a game. The team, the Tampa Bay Rays, wanted to change their logo to have the rainbow pride colors on it, and 5 players very courageously said that they would not wear that patch. And I want to read to you what a spokesman for those players said. It was one of the players they chose to represent the group of all 5 of them. He said, a lot of it comes down to faith, to like a faith-based decision. So it's a hard decision, but ultimately we all said what we want is them to know that all are welcome and loved here. But when we put it on our bodies, I think a lot of guys decided that it's just a lifestyle that maybe, not that they look down on anybody or think differently, it's just that maybe we don't want to encourage it if we believe in Jesus, who has encouraged us to live a lifestyle that would abstain from that behavior, just like Jesus encourages me as a heterosexual male to abstain from sex outside of the confines of marriage. It's no different. Well done.
It is. And I mean, what this story reveals is the difference. There's no demand here, and that's what conservatives have said for a long time. You look at Pride Month, there's no demand for just equal treatment under the law, which people have regardless of the way that they've chosen their sexual preference to be. Equal treatment under the law, just allow me to be me, all of these things. It's not about acceptance. Oh, it's not about tolerance. It's about acceptance. We demand not just that you tolerate that we're here and different. I don't think any of us have an issue, but what's being demanded is no, you must accept and endorse and wear what we say. Well, if we went into, another baseball club and say, okay, this is Christian Pride Month, everyone wear a cross on your shoulder, there would probably be a few people who wouldn't want to do it. And guess what? I wouldn't force them. But if a player wanted to, great. Like this is what this issue is about. It's not about tolerating people. It's about the demanding that we all accept and endorse and participate. And that's really what it's, what this, the real gender ideology assault in our culture wars has been about. It's not about just, leave us alone and we'll leave you alone, which truly is the conservative opinion that most of us have. But that's not what this is about.
Yeah. So heroes are out there, and 5 of them are named Jason Adam, Jalen Beeks, Brooks Rayleigh, Jeffrey Springs, and Ryan Thompson. No relation, I trust.
No relation. And I must say, it's actually, there is an unfortunate relation to this. One of the baseball players who has chosen to stick his nose, unfortunately, into a lot of these cultural issues, criticizing other people, is one of our own Cardinals pitchers, who likes to often jump into these things and tweet about, tweet about what we'd say politically correct issues, and it's too bad. He's a good pitcher, and he should stick to pitching instead of trying to pitch us all on cultural things that no one wants. So it's true. It's true. So it's kind of sad that it's a Cardinals player participating in this, but you know, it's that's, well, again,
he has a right to his opinion too. You know,
he does. The problem is his opinion is that everyone else is, you know, should agree with his, and they're wrong. Which, you know, I can think people are wrong.
Yeah, or, well, to be put better, the problem is his opinion is that other people's opinions
shouldn't have opinions.
Other people don't.
That's the problem. And I said, it's not about having a different opinion. It's about demanding that we accept their opinion. That's what this is about, and that's what this Tampa Bay Rays story shows.
Yeah.
What's next?
Up next, a strange coincidence. I mean, this one's a real brain twister here.
Yeah, absolutely.
A very strange thing has happened. Suddenly, gun stores are just really relaxing on how they do their paperwork, apparently, because there has been a 500% spike in gun retailers having their firearm licenses revoked under the Biden administration. In the 11 months, let's see, Lee Williams, independent investigative reporter specializing in covering firearms, said that in the 11 months since Joe Biden declared war on rogue gun dealers, the ATF has revoked 273 FFLs, that's federal firearm licenses, which is an increase of more than 500%. It used to be roughly 40 per year. Now it's 273. What's up with all these gun retailers? Why are they doing this?
Well, it's just there's been a rampant, you know, when you hire young people can't spell, the typos go up. No, I'm kidding. That's actually true, though. But it's not my pet peeve. My pet peeve is change in math at the grocery store line. No one seems to know how to do it anymore. But it's not young people doing forums. What this is what we could call the shadow war against guns being fought by the executive administrative state. I mean, we'll just pass over briefly. I'm sure anyone who's been watching, we've affectionately nicknamed it POCA, the Protecting Our Kids Act. We wanted there to be little kids, so it could be polka, the real, you know, the dance.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's just some nutty stuff that the House of Representatives, with 5 Republicans, mind you, passed last night. Some crazy loony things about raising the age limits on guns, banning bump stocks, which the ATF has already unconstitutionally banned, things that actually have no bearing on all of the mass shootings that we see, that everyone's virtue signaling over what can we do to end it. But then there's a lot of other stuff that's in there that's dangerous about safe storage, i.e. the government demanding that they know. And I mean, it's like DC. You have to tell the government where your gun is, how it's stored. They can come and check that it's stored properly. We're talking about some severe implications, not only against the Second Amendment, but the Fourth Amendment. But behind all of these outright pushes for gun control that are going through Congress right now, this exists. And what we see is the bloated executive branch, the I think at this point people are starting to clearly believe, the corrupt Department of Justice, along with the ATF, which in my opinion is unconstitutional to begin with. It should just be fewer functions and rolled into the DOJ, are really going out and perpetrating essentially a shadow war against the Second Amendment by using the administrative state. So things like this, we're going to shut down and revoke FFLs for nickel and dime reasons, things that we've never gone after before. One thing that's starting to get a lot of news coverage, whenever the way that federal firearms licenses work, when you as a gun shop, someone comes and purchases a gun, they fill out the ATF form, you get your background check, you pass the background check, we take your money, give you your gun. Those forms, which is what ties a person with their name and address to a serial number on a firearm, that's legally supposed to be kept for 30 years and then destroyed by the FFL. If that firearms license holder closes up shop, they have to ship their records to the federal government. And by law, the federal government has to keep those on paper, not digitized, not searchable, so that there's no national database of old gun sales. They have to keep those stored away and then destroy them at the end of 30 years. Well, it's come out now. The ATF and the Department of Justice have been digitizing those all along. And they claim that they're not searchable, but overnight with Adobe Acrobat, they can become searchable. They have assembled a blatantly illegal database of past firearm sales. They are moving against federal firearms license holders for no nickel and dime reasons almost. This This is another front in the war on our right to defend ourselves that's just not being talked about. It's coming through in these little articles that don't really make sense, but it needs to be put in proper context for folks. This is a push against our Second Amendment just as much, if not more, even more dangerous than anything going through Congress. So make no mistake, it is not the fault of young people who can't spell and all of them getting hired at gun shops and now are shutting people down for grammar errors. It is, in fact, a move by the administrative state against firearms and firearm ownership.
Yeah, 500% spike in gun retailers being shut down. Probably not a coincidence.
Yeah, no.
Probably not a coincidence.
And as you can tell, I don't really care about this issue very much. It's very low on my radar.
Yeah. That's why we had to do the rapid fire thing, because we could be talking about that for hours.
Oh my goodness.
But anyway, moving right along then. Next headline we want to cover. This one I think is kind of funny, and I want to take a more reasoned approach to this. But on Joe Biden's appearance on the Jimmy Kimmel show, I wish we could play the video for you. It's actually a pretty short clip, but basically Jimmy Kimmel says, and here's the funny part, the Republicans never played fair. How is it that you can continue to play fair when the Republicans never play fair? Which I think was supposed to be a joke. I don't know. It's Jimmy Kimmel. I think he's supposed to be funny. But anyway, so then Joe Biden basically says, well, we're just the good guys, so we're going to keep being good guys. To which Jimmy Kimmel then says, is a matter of illustration. It's like your monopoly and somebody who won't pass go and won't follow any of the rules. How do you make any progress? President Biden responds, speaking of his political adversaries, we got to send them to jail. Which I will admit, with the Monopoly reference, that's actually probably one of the funniest jokes that's been on Jimmy Kimmel for a very long time. But it's, when you think about what he's saying, that's kind of creepy too.
Yeah,
and he's saying that out loud, sending Republicans, sending political adversaries to jail.
Well, especially in the wake of all of the January 6th stuff, this has no longer become like the quote unquote right-wing conspiracy that, they're just persecuting political prisoners, essentially, which are terms that you only read about in books about the Soviet Union and the gulags, the persecution of political prisoners. That's exactly what's happening. There are people who've been kept in jail for months and months in solitary confinement, and none of them have been charged with treason and sedition. I think finally there was something a little more major that came out with one of the former leaders or someone connected to the Proud Boys. But I mean, all these folks come up for their hearings and they're getting charged with misdemeanors, vandalism, a few different things like that. And yet they have been kept in these atrocious conditions, separated from their families over misdemeanors. And yet felons in major liberal cities are getting released on next to nothing bail, if bail at even at all, on felony charges, to then go and commit more crimes while they're out. I mean, I'm pretty sure, wasn't that the case with the Waukesha Christmas parade driver? Hadn't he literally been released on bail based on violent crimes? He'd been released on nothing a few days before the event. And then he goes and drives through this parade and mows down, families and children. And these folks have been kept for misdemeanor charges. Political prisoners are a reality of this administration, truly.
Yeah, it truly is. But
it's disturbing to hear it out loud, even though like this.
To be fair, though, that is still probably one of the funniest things that's been said on Jimmy Kimmel in a very long time. In fact, true. Honestly, I would kind of like to see a late night show starring Joe Biden. I mean, some of the things he says could actually make for a pretty funny late night show. Much funnier than what we're seeing a lot of.
Watching the White House news conferences is kind of like Saturday Night Live now.
It really is.
You can't make it up.
Okay, so last thing that we're going to go through today. Journalist who mocked cancel culture gets canceled. David Weigel, I think.
Dave Weigel? I think I've heard Weigel.
Could be. Weigel? I'm sorry. I don't keep up with all the Washington Post people, aside from our good friend Taylor Lorenz. But anyway, I'm not going to repeat the joke that our friend Dave put on social media.
Was less funny than Jimmy Kimmel even.
well, less funny than Joe Biden on Jimmy Kimmel.
Yes, less funny than Joe Biden.
Let's be clear, but not a very tasteful joke, definitely. But what is really funny is not the joke, but the fact that Dave has spent a great deal of time talking about, well, really mocking cancel culture. Do people still talk about cancel culture, or has CRT taken up that space in the conversation?
And to be clear, mocking the fact that some of us think cancel culture exists.
Right.
He's not mocking people who get canceled. He's saying that we're crazy for thinking it exists. And then
so spends all his time talking about how cancel culture, that doesn't exist, and then boom, gets canceled. I wonder if he still holds to that claim that it doesn't exist, or maybe he's the first victim of cancel culture.
I would say we could reach out to him, but the contact route we all had through his employer is no longer there, so I'm not sure.
That's true. Rest in peace, Dave. Good knowing you. But anyway, so there is another exciting adventure in the land of cancel culture. You gotta be careful with that stuff. Really, I wish people would be more careful about what they post on social media. Somebody should hire 70 employees to watch what Dave puts on social media. He could probably use that.
If you had other people's money,
that's
true. It's always easier to hire.
That's true. We should just have the taxpayers pay for all that goes on social media. Then where would we be?
Oh my. Well, I think that is a good place to close it down. Unless we've got anything else. We covered a lot of topics today. Did you have anything else to add to put a button on this before we shut her down?
Thanks everybody for tolerating us as we march through all of these wonderful headlines. There's just so much going on, and seriously, there's some very serious stuff out there that we have to deal with, and we have to address it face on. But at the end of the day, I think that it's important that we keep our spirits up. That, like Phyllis Schlafly was, we got to be happy warriors, to take things as they come, to be serious when it's time to be serious. But honestly, watching the left cave in on themselves is a lot of fun. So this has been another exciting Unauthorized Caucus. Thank you so much for joining us. Please don't forget to like this video, to share it with other people, and to subscribe to our channel as well, so you can continue being notified every time that we put out one of these videos. Leave a comment too. Tell us what you think. Should there be a late night show starring Joe Biden?
Well, I tell you what, if people are tired, and let me put in one final plug on that note of coming back for more content. If you would like to join a Phyllis Schlafly Eagles live stream and not be looking at us, but actual famous people, next week is your chance. So let me say real quick, go and visit phyllisschlafly.com/collegians. Our 2022 annual Collegian Summit is going to be taking place next week. We will be in DC broadcasting live. This is an event that used to be hidden from public view, but thanks to the era of COVID, we were able to open that up and start doing a little bit of a live stream program. So go to phyllisschlafly.com/collegians, register for that there. What we're doing is putting together an absolutely incredible program. I think we've been announcing speakers, but hopefully we'll be putting up a full schedule here so that everyone can get a glimpse of what it is. Register. We'll make sure that you get the live links. And from members of Congress to professors to authors to conservative leaders in the fields of activism, we're going to have a lot of absolutely incredible and exciting guests. You've pulled up the list. Do you want to share some names?
Yeah. This is not a complete list of everybody that we're going to have on, but I'll just name a few of the good folks that we're going to have. So several members of Congress will be streaming live from Washington, D.C., by the way, for this. So Representative Thomas Massey, great guy. Representative Burgess Owens, really another good one. Representative Matt Gaetz. We're going to have the intrepid and uncancelable Jack Posobiec with us. We're going to have pro-life champion Bridget Van Means with us. Jennifer Cabaney with the College Fix is going to be with us as well. Jonathan Alexander with Liberty Counsel, Alex Newman, Bear Wozniak, so many others as well, all going to be joining us, talking about the most important issues facing college students today. So if you are a college student, make sure that you catch that live stream on Tuesday starting at 5 p.m. Eastern. If you know any college students, make sure that they're lined up to watch that as well. I mean, this is great information for anybody for sure, but we're targeting specifically college students to help you be more equipped to defend your values on college campuses. So make sure that if you liked this video, subscribe for more great content from Phyllis Schlafly Eagles. If you didn't like this video, still subscribe, because we're not going to be the ones on camera on Tuesday. So that's it for today, everybody. Thank you so much for joining our Unauthorized Caucus, and we'll